Abandoned starship rebuilt by human mechanic. Becomes a galaxy-shattering weapon. Kale Rin floated in the small repair shuttle, staring at the dark void of space. Stars glittered faintly in the distance, but between them, silence reigned. Most people in the galaxy avoided this region, calling it the Andromeda Expanse, a place of drifting wrecks, abandoned stations, and rumors of danger. But Kale didn't care about rumors. He cared about opportunity. He was a human, small, unremarkable in size compared to the towering alien species that ruled most of the known star systems. But Kale had something they rarely had: curiosity and skill. His hands were steady, his mind sharp, and he could fix or adapt almost anything. In a galaxy of overwhelming machines, he thrived where others saw hopeless complexity. The scanner on his shuttle blinked. A massive object lay ahead. Its shape was strange, unlike any starship Kale had seen in his years of scavenging. The hull was cracked, scarred, and darkened with dust and space debris. It drifted like a dead whale, silent, abandoned, and enormous. Kyle's heart raced. "This is it," he whispered to himself. You. Even the largest freighters in the Andromeda lanes looked small compared to this vessel. There was no way an average mechanic could board it safely. But Kale was no average mechanic. As he docked carefully, the airlock creaked open, sounding like a groan of metal that had not moved in decades. The darkness inside was complete at first, broken only by the faint glimmers of tiny lights blinking here and there along the walls. Kale's eyes adjusted. The ship was enormous. Corridors stretched further than he could see. Chambers towered like alien cathedrals, and the air smelled stale and metallic. Kale moved cautiously, floating along the zero-gravity corridors. Panels were torn, wires hung loose, and strange symbols glowed faintly in places, marking systems he could not yet identify. Most alien scavengers would have given up already. They thought this ship too complicated, too dangerous, but Kale felt excitement bubbling inside him. This ship! It's alive somehow, he muttered. Or it wants to be.
He explored deeper.
Braish. The bridge was a large circular room filled with alien technology. Screens flickered faintly, though none were fully functional. The controls were strange, covered with symbols and alien scripts. Kale ran his hands over them, tracing circuits with careful precision. "I can make sense of this," he said, though part of him knew it would take patience. As he examined the ship, he noticed something unusual. A faint vibration under his hands, almost like a heartbeat. The sensors showed a dormant AI core at the center of the ship. It was massive, bigger than any core Kale had ever repaired, and pulsing faintly with energy that seemed alive. Kale's pulse quickened. This isn't just a ship," he said quietly. "It's something more. Something waiting." Hours passed. Kyle wandered through the ship, inspecting chambers, engines, and the ship's inner systems. Dust covered almost everything, but he could see traces of advanced technology hidden under layers of neglect. Some sections of the ship still hummed faintly, as if acknowledging his presence. Suddenly, Kale heard a faint sound, a soft click echoing through the empty corridors. He froze. "Hello?" he called, though he knew no one would answer. The sound repeated, rhythmic, almost like the ship was responding to him. Kyle smiled. "You're not dead after all." He carefully approached the AI core chamber. The doors were massive, engraved with alien symbols that glowed faintly. His hands shook slightly as he pressed his tools against the surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the doors hissed open, revealing the core.
It was huge, a sphere of pulsing energy, surrounded by metal that gleamed faintly even under the dim light.
Strange conduits ran from the core to the walls, stretching into every part of the ship. Cale could feel the energy radiating from it, a living force. This is incredible, he whispered. He reached out, scanning the core with his portable device. The readings were off the charts. No alien civilization had successfully reactivated a core like this for centuries. Most had tried and failed, leaving the ship abandoned. And yet, here was a human, a small, fragile human, standing before it. Cale's mind raced. If I can fix this, if I can wake you up, we could go anywhere, do anything.
He spent hours studying the system. Unlike the aliens who relied on brute force or complicated algorithms, Cale used intuition.
He traced circuits, adjusted energy flows, patched damaged conduits, and rewrote small sections of code to match patterns he understood. Slowly, the core responded. Pass. Lights flickered, panels blinked, and the faint hum grew louder, vibrating through the deck beneath his boots. Cale took a step back, holding his breath. The core pulsed again, stronger this time. A soft voice echoed, not through the speakers, but directly in his mind. Bess. Who awakens me? Kyle froze. For a moment he thought it was his imagination. Then the voice repeated, calm and curious. I pay. I'm Cale Rin, he said slowly. I found you. I want to help you. There was silence. Then a faint glow spread across the core. Bed. The voice spoke again. Your species is small, fragile, limited. Why do you reach for me?
Cale swallowed. He had no idea what the AI expected him to say.
Because humans try. We survive. We learn. We build. And sometimes we can do things others think impossible. Another pause. The glow strengthened. For the first time, Cale felt a connection with the ship, as if it was assessing him. Then the core pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat in sync with his own. Psst. Very well, human. I will awaken with your guidance. Cal's heart leapt. He had done it. Against all odds, a human had awakened a ship considered untouchable for centuries. But there was no time to celebrate. Best. He knew the work was just beginning. Systems were still damaged, energy flows unstable, and the AI was only partially functional. The ship was enormous, and Cale was only one person. Yet he felt no fear, only determination. This is just the beginning, he whispered, looking out through a cracked viewport. The stars stretched endlessly before him, and the ship drifted silently, waiting. Psst. I don't know what we'll become, but we're going to find out. Cale began to plan. First, stabilize the core. Bet. Then, restore engines and navigation. After that, he could start testing the ship's real potential. Every alien in the galaxy had written this vessel off. They thought it was dead. They thought humans were weak. They were wrong. The first day passed quickly, and Cale worked without pause. He repaired broken conduits, rewired energy systems, and slowly brought more panels online. Flickers of light revealed the grandeur of the ship, hallways that seemed endless, chambers filled with technology beyond human imagination, and engines that stretched like the spine of a colossal beast. By the second day, the core was stable enough to power a small section of the ship. Kyle moved cautiously, testing doors, life support, and communication systems. Each success made the ship hum more strongly, and Kale felt a growing sense of respect from the ship and for himself. At one point, he paused to look out a viewport. The stars shimmered coldly, distant and silent. But now, Kale didn't feel small. For the first time, he felt like humanity could matter, not just survive, but reach further than anyone expected. He smiled. "We're going to change everything," he said softly. As night fell on the shuttle's timer, Kale floated through the central corridor. The AI core pulsed gently, a heartbeat syncing with his own. Somewhere deep inside, the ship was waiting for him to unlock its full power. But Kyle didn't know how far he could go or what challenges lay ahead. But he knew this: he was human, he was clever, and he would not fail. The last panel flickered, showing a map of the galaxy. Stars, planets, and systems stretched endlessly. Kale's eyes narrowed. Somewhere out there, the universe was about to notice a human who had awakened the impossible. And Kale Rhine, small, fragile, underestimated, smiled.
He had no idea what the galaxy had in store, but he knew he would face it head-on.
Breaths. Kale Rin floated through the central corridor of the massive starship, feeling both excitement and pressure. The AI core pulsed gently behind him, like a heartbeat. Every hum, flicker, and vibration was a message he could feel. The ship was alive, but still fragile. He had awakened it, yes, but now he had to make it move, make it function. The first challenge was obvious. Most of the ship's systems were broken or damaged. Power conduits were burnt, engines corroded, and navigation circuits were scrambled. Even the alien symbols on the panels were unlike anything Kale had ever learned. But Kale had a talent no one expected. Where others saw chaos, he saw patterns. Where others saw impossibility, he saw opportunity.
You moved to the engine room, a cathedral-like space stretching endlessly. The engines were massive, towers of metal and energy conduits.
Dust covered every surface, but Kale could see the faint outlines of what they had been. With careful hands, he began cleaning, repairing, and reconnecting the circuits. Every wire he touched hummed slightly, responding to his adjustments. Hours passed like minutes. Hours passed like minutes. Kale's hands worked constantly, rewiring alien systems to match his human understanding. It was delicate work. Grasp. One wrong connection, one miscalculation, and a massive explosion could occur.
He moved carefully, testing each circuit, feeling each pulse of energy.
The AI spoke softly, a voice only Kale could hear inside his mind. "You understand me?" "More than I expected." "Why?" Kale paused, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Because humans don't just follow instructions. We think, we try, we experiment. That's how we survive." The core pulsed brighter, almost approvingly. "Your species is small, Barris, fragile, but clever. You may unlock more than I have seen." Bile. "We'll see about that." By the second day, Kyle had restored partial power to the main engine arrays. He floated among the towers of metal and energy, checking conduits, repairing damage, and improvising solutions. Alien engineers would have called his methods crude, reckless even. But Kale had a gift. They were effective. Systems that had been considered lost for centuries began to hum, flicker, and respond. One of the most challenging areas was the ship's navigation system. It was a complex array of floating displays, holographic projections, and alien controls. Besa. Kyle examined it carefully. The symbols were strange, glowing faintly. Brr. He didn't understand them, not fully. But humans had an advantage. Intuition. He traced circuits, pressed switches in patterns that made sense to him. And slowly the projections began to stabilize. The ship responded immediately. Holographic stars shifted, showing Kale the paths, jumps, and coordinates. He could feel the AI watching him closely, learning as he worked.
Psst. Your methods are unconventional, the AI said.
Kale laughed softly. That's what humans do. Unconventional works better than perfect sometimes, bet. With navigation partly online, Kale turned to the life support systems. The air was stale and temperature controls were erratic. He repaired filters, rerouted energy, and balanced airflow. Slowly, the ship became comfortable, alive. Lights glowed softly in the corridors. Panels blinked in rhythm with the AI's core, and the hum of energy filled the empty halls. Even with all his progress, Kale knew the ship's real potential was still hidden. He could feel it in the vibrations, in the subtle adjustments of the AI. This vessel had been designed as more than a warship. It was powerful, but it waited for someone clever, someone who could think beyond the instructions it had been programmed with. Kale worked tirelessly day and night. He ate small meals from the shuttle, floated through the corridors, and slept only briefly in a small maintenance pod. Yet he felt no exhaustion, only focus. Every success made the AI respond more strongly. Every failure taught him something new. By the fourth day, Kale had restored nearly half of the ship's systems. Engines were online, though not at full power. Navigation worked, though only for short-range tests. The AI core glowed steadily, observing, waiting. Kale realized that the ship had begun to trust him, not fully, but enough to allow small tests. He prepared for the first trial. He floated to the main control deck, adjusting consoles, checking systems, and running simulations. Then, with a deep breath, he activated the engines at minimal power. The ship vibrated gently, a soft hum filling every corridor. Kale smiled as he felt the movement. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but the massive vessel was alive, moving under his command. The stars outside shifted as the ship slowly drifted forward, responding to Kale's careful adjustments. Beck. The AI spoke, its voice calm but filled with curiosity. You are small, but your decisions are precise. Why? Kale floated closer to the console. Breaths. Because humans think differently. We look for solutions others ignore. We survive by being smart, not by being strong. The AI pulsed brightly, almost like laughter. Perhaps your species is underestimated.
Kale chuckled. Underestimated is my favorite word. Encouraged, he increased power slightly, testing the engines further.
The ship responded beautifully, gliding smoothly, almost effortlessly through the void. Kale felt a thrill he had never experienced before. He was small, yes, human, yes, but he controlled something enormous, something that had been considered untouchable for centuries. Yet Kale knew he could not become careless. The ship was powerful, but still unpredictable. One wrong adjustment, and systems could fail. He decided to focus next on the defensive protocols. Panels in the walls revealed strange energy fields, alien shields, and weapon arrays. Kale examined them carefully. He could not use them aggressively. They were designed for war, but he could study them, learn from them, and adapt them for safety. Using his ingenuity, Kale rewrote energy flows to stabilize shields, rerouted power from damaged systems, and adjusted weapon arrays to function as sensors. Slowly, the ship became more than a relic. It became a functional, intelligent vessel under human guidance. As he worked, Kale realized something important. This ship was not just a tool. It was a partner. The AI core responded to him, learned from him, and adjusted its systems in ways Kale could not have predicted. Together, they were becoming something unique. On the 7th day, Kale made his first big breakthrough. He managed to integrate human engineering with alien systems, creating a hybrid control method. The ship responded immediately, energy flowing smoothly, engines accelerating evenly, and shields stabilizing in anticipation of movement. He floated in the control deck, exhausted but exhilarated. The stars outside blurred slightly as the ship slowly began a trial maneuver.
Kale laughed softly. We're getting there. We're really getting there.
The AI pulsed brightly, its voice echoing in his mind.
You have potential?
Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated your species for too long.
Kale smiled.
Tell me about it.
Hours later, he paused to rest in a small maintenance pod. The hum of energy filled the corridors, a comforting sound.
Kale thought about the stars, the abandoned ship, and the galaxy beyond. Humans had always been small, weak, underestimated, but they had one advantage that no alien species had: creativity, ingenuity. The ability to turn impossibility into reality. For the first time, Kale truly believed humans could leave a mark on the stars. He had awakened a relic, repaired it, and made it responsive to human guidance. Tomorrow, he would test it further. And the galaxy. Well, the galaxy would never be the same again. As Kale drifted to sleep, the ship pulsed around him. Its systems hummed in harmony, engines warmed, and lights glowed softly in the corridors. The AI core pulsed like a heartbeat, waiting, learning, and recognizing. But together they were powerful, and the adventure was only beginning. Kale Rhine floated in the control deck of the massive starship, staring at the stars through the viewport. The galaxy stretched endlessly before him, beautiful and cold. He could feel the ship vibrating gently around him, as if it were aware of his thoughts. For the first time, he realized that the vessel was no longer just a machine. It was alive, in its own way, and it trusted him. He had spent weeks repairing and rebuilding the systems. Engines hummed smoothly, shields stabilized, and navigation was precise. The AI core, once dormant and silent, now pulsed with life, listening, learning, and adapting to Kale's human logic. But he knew that rebuilding the ship was only the beginning. Breath. The real test was whether humans could truly master it.
Kale checked the scanners.
Beyond the expanse, the nearest inhabited systems were weeks away. He was alone, but not afraid. In fact, he thrived on challenges. Every alien species that ruled the galaxy underestimated humans, thinking them weak and small. Pascal intended to prove them wrong, not through force, but through skill, ingenuity, and courage. The first challenge arrived sooner than he expected. The ship's sensors picked up a dense asteroid field ahead. According to the AI, the field was unstable, shifting constantly, and too dangerous for any large vessel to navigate safely. Alien freighters avoided these fields entirely. Yet Kale didn't hesitate. "This is perfect," he said, gripping the control console. "If we can get through this, we'll know what you're really capable of." He activated the engines and adjusted the shields. The ship responded instantly, energy flowing smoothly through every conduit, every panel. Kale could feel the AI learning his decisions, predicting his moves, and improving the ship's reactions in real time. The asteroid field loomed closer. Gigantic rocks some miles wide drifted through space like slow-moving mountains. Despair. Sensors pinged warnings constantly. A single collision would destroy the ship. Kale's heart pounded, but his mind was calm. Humans survived by thinking, not by relying on strength. He began plotting a course, calculating angles and speeds that no alien autopilot could handle. "Steady, steady," he whispered, moving the controls gently. The ship glided forward, engines humming in harmony with Kale's movements. Asteroids passed close, dangerously close, but Kale anticipated each shift. The AI adjusted shields, automatically redirecting energy to protect the hull. Kale felt a thrill unlike anything he had ever known. He was small, human, and yet he controlled a vessel capable of incredible power. Hours passed as they navigated the field. Kale learned to trust the AI, and the AI learned to trust him. Every movement was precise, every adjustment intentional. By the time they cleared the last asteroid, Kale let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. "We did it," he said, smiling. "We actually did it." The AI pulsed brightly, its voice echoing in his mind. "Your species, Bess, is clever. You adapt. You survive where others fail. Perhaps you are, Bertie, underestimated indeed." Kale laughed softly. "Underestimated is my favorite word, remember?" He looked back at the viewport. Beyond the asteroid field lay a small cluster of colonies. He could see faint lights, planets alive with civilization, and soon they would notice him. Phew! They would notice humans piloting a vessel they had deemed impossible to control. Kale decided it was time to test the ship's next systems, communication and diplomacy. Alien traders and patrols often dominated space lanes, using their size and technology to intimidate smaller species. Kale intended to avoid confrontation, but he needed to understand how the galaxy would respond to a human-controlled supership. He activated long-range communication. Strange signals, ancient and complex, appeared on the displays. KL studied them, matching patterns, translating frequencies, and finally sending a simple message. A human greeting. The response came quickly. Alien patrols were intrigued, skeptical, and even cautious. They had never seen a ship like this respond to a human operator. Some sent warnings. Some sent challenges. Kale listened carefully, replying with calm, measured communication, proving that humans were not only clever, but capable of understanding complex diplomacy. One message stood out. It came from a cluster of alien traders known for their arrogance and dismissive attitudes toward humans. "You are small. Your species cannot control such power. Leave this system before you bring ruin." Kale smiled, tapping a few keys. "We'll leave only if we are asked politely. Otherwise, we'll stay and learn." The AI pulsed again, almost approvingly. "Your species, bisaudacious." Perhaps dangerously so. But Kale didn't care. He was determined to prove that humans were not weak. They were clever, resourceful, and adaptable. And this ship, rebuilt by human hands and human creativity, was proof. The next challenge arrived without warning. A rogue asteroid cluster larger than the first, shifted suddenly into the path of nearby colonies. Sensors indicated imminent danger. Multiple worlds could be affected if the asteroids collided. Kale had to act. "This is it," he said, gripping the console. "Hurry. Time to see what we can really do." He plotted a complex course through the cluster, using the ship's engines and shield systems to manipulate the asteroids' paths. It was delicate work, requiring perfect timing and precision. The AI assisted predicting movement, calculating energy distribution, and suggesting adjustments. But the final decisions were Kale's. Hours passed in tense silence. The asteroids moved unpredictably, some larger than cities. Kale's mind worked faster than ever, anticipating every change, trusting both his instincts and the AI's calculations. The ship glided, shifted, and maneuvered with grace and power, a perfect harmony of human intuition and alien engineering. Finally, the last asteroid was diverted. Sensors confirmed that the colonies were safe. Kale slumped in his seat, exhausted but elated. He had done it. Against impossible odds, a human had guided a massive alien vessel to save entire worlds. The AI pulsed brighter than ever, its voice echoing with recognition. "Bear, you have proven your species is remarkable. Bration, clever, resourceful. You adapt where others fail. You are more than I anticipated." Kale smiled, feeling a surge of pride. "We're just getting started," he said softly. Word of the human-controlled starship began to spread through the expanse. Traders, patrols, and even distant colonies whispered of a small human who had awakened an ancient vessel, navigated impossible asteroid fields, and saved worlds without firing a single weapon. The galaxy began to take notice. Kale knew this was only the beginning. The ship was powerful, but its full potential remained hidden. There were systems he had not yet understood, technologies he had not yet mastered, and secrets buried deep within the AI core. Every day was a learning experience, every maneuver a test of human ingenuity, and Kale thrived on it. Humans had always survived where others expected them to fail. They had always adapted, invented, and overcome. Now, in the vastness of space, Kale had the chance to show the galaxy what humans could really do. The challenge had revealed one undeniable truth. Size, strength, and numbers were not the measure of capability. Humans, clever and inventive, could achieve what others deemed impossible. And this starship, once abandoned and forgotten, was the perfect proof. Kale floated back to the central corridor, exhausted but exhilarated. The ship's lights glowed softly, the AI pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. He looked out at the stars, knowing that the galaxy would never underestimate humans again, not after what he had done. And somewhere in the vast reaches of space, other civilizations were already whispering, "A human piloting the impossible." Kale smiled. He had faced the first real challenge, and humans had won. Not with force, but with creativity, courage, and intelligence. The galaxy was beginning to understand a truth long ignored. Humans were underestimated, and that mistake would be their undoing. As Kale drifted to sleep in the small maintenance pod, the ship pulsed around him, alive and aware. The stars stretched endlessly outside the viewport. But tomorrow would bring new tests, new discoveries, and new challenges. But Kale was ready. Humans always were. And together, Kale and the ship would face whatever the galaxy dared to throw at them. Kale Ryan woke to the gentle hum of the massive starship. Light glowed softly along the corridors, pulsing in rhythm with the AI core. After weeks of repairs, tests, and challenges, the ship was alive, not just functional, but alert, aware, and responsive to him. Every system, every engine, every shield, and every sensor had been calibrated by human hands, guided by human intuition. The galaxy was watching, even if most civilizations didn't yet know it. Rumors had spread. A human had awakened an abandoned starship, navigated impossible asteroid fields, and saved entire colonies from destruction. Most aliens had scoffed at the idea, thinking humans too small, too weak, too fragile to control such a vessel. But Kale knew the truth. Humans were clever. Humans adapted.
Humans survived, and now humans would show the galaxy their full potential.
Kale floated to the control deck, his eyes scanning the stars ahead. The AI pulsed softly in his mind, waiting, as if aware that something significant was about to happen.
Today, Kale whispered, we show them who humans are.
The first challenge came swiftly. A nearby system, a cluster of colonies rich in resources, faced a sudden threat. A massive cosmic storm twisting and bending in unpredictable ways.
Alien fleets approached cautiously, unsure if their calculations could protect the colonies. Most would evacuate, leaving worlds vulnerable. Kale did not hesitate. "We're not leaving," he said firmly, tapping the controls.
We're going to help them. And maybe...
"We'll teach the galaxy a thing or two while we're at it." The ship responded immediately, engines humming, shields powering up, and sensors scanning the storm. Kale plotted a course that no alien autopilot could calculate. Angles, speeds, gravitational pulls, everything had to be perfect. And Kale, human and small, trusted his instincts. The AI watched, learning, adapting, and assisting where it could. But the final decisions were Kale's. Every move, every adjustment was guided by human intuition. The ship glided through space like a living creature, weaving between storm clouds, deflecting energy bursts, and stabilizing gravitational waves. Hours passed, tense and exhausting. The storm twisted unpredictably, sending bursts of energy that could tear through planets and destroy ships. Kale stayed calm, calculating, adjusting, trusting the ship's response. Slowly, systems synchronized, shields held steady, and the storm began to dissipate. Finally, the last energy wave passed, and the colonies were safe. Sensors confirmed that no world had suffered damage. Kale slumped in his seat, exhausted but exhilarated. He had done it. A human had guided a massive alien vessel to save multiple worlds simultaneously, without firing a single weapon. The AI pulsed brightly, its voice echoing in his mind. Breaths.
You have proven humans are remarkable.
Clever, adaptive, and capable of achieving what others deemed impossible.
Your species is underestimated. No longer.
Kale smiled, feeling a surge of pride. "We're just getting started." Word spread quickly. Alien civilizations, once dismissive of humans, now whispered in astonishment. Traders, fleets, and colonies marveled at the story. A single human controlling a massive, abandoned starship, navigating dangers that had defeated fleets of advanced alien technology. Best, humans, small and fragile, had proven themselves in ways no one had expected. Kale knew the next step. The ship was not just a tool for survival. It was a beacon of possibility. He would push it further, explore deeper space, and uncover secrets hidden for millennia. But first, he had to test the ship's full capabilities. He activated the engines at full power, feeling the vibration pulse through every corridor. The starship responded like a living organism, energy flowing evenly, systems adjusting in real time, shields and sensors perfectly synchronized. Kyle guided the vessel through complex maneuvers, spiraling through asteroid fields, dodging gravitational anomalies, and navigating celestial hazards that would have destroyed lesser ships. For hours, Kyle pushed the ship. Every challenge revealed more potential, more intelligence in the AI core, more beauty in the harmony between human creativity and alien technology. The ship was no longer just a relic. It was a masterpiece of adaptation, proof that humans could take what others abandoned and turn it into something extraordinary. Then came the ultimate challenge. A massive fleet of alien ships appeared, patrolling a contested region. They were curious, cautious, and clearly wary of the human-controlled Starship. But technology was advanced, their numbers overwhelming, but Kale did not feel fear. He had already faced impossible odds and prevailed. He activated the communication array, sending a simple, clear message. "We come in peace. But we are capable. Watch and learn."
The alien commanders hesitated.
They had expected humans to be small, weak, and ineffective. Instead, they were confronted with a vessel of unimaginable size and complexity, piloted with precision, courage, and intelligence. Kale did not need weapons to impress them. Every maneuver, every calculation, every act of human ingenuity spoke louder than lasers or missiles ever could. Kale guided the ship through a demonstration. He executed complex maneuvers that alien fleets had deemed impossible, stabilized gravitational fields around dangerous anomalies, all without firing a single shot. The aliens watched in awe. Their previous assumptions about humans were shattered. They realized that strength was not measured in size or numbers alone, but in creativity, adaptability, and intelligence. Heaven. Humans, small and underestimated, had proven themselves capable of feats that even the most advanced civilizations had not dared attempt. The AI pulsed brightly, almost as if proud. "Your species is extraordinary. You have unlocked potential no one expected." Kale smiled. "We're just human," he said softly.
But we never give up. By the end of the demonstration, the alien fleet retreated, not out of fear, but out of respect. Humans had shown the galaxy that ingenuity, courage, and determination could achieve what brute strength could not.
Kale floated to the central corridor, exhausted but exhilarated. The stars stretched endlessly outside the ship's massive windows, and he realized that this was only the beginning.
The galaxy would remember this day, not for destruction, not for war, but for brilliance, for courage, for human ingenuity.
For the first time, humans were no longer underestimated. Their place among the stars was secure, not through conquest, but through skill, creativity, and the courage to face the impossible. Kale looked out at the void of space, thinking about the future. The abandoned Starship, once considered untouchable, had been rebuilt, repurposed, and awakened by human hands. It had become a symbol, proof that humans could achieve greatness even when the odds were stacked against them. The AI pulsed softly, a comforting rhythm, as if acknowledging the truth Kale already knew. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, explorers, and problem solvers. And now, the galaxy knew it too.
Kale smiled, feeling a sense of peace he had never known.
The adventure was far from over. But humans had taken their first real step into the wider universe, not as small, fragile beings, but as a species capable of shaping destiny. And somewhere across the endless stars, civilizations whispered of the human who had awakened an impossible ship, saved worlds, and proved that cleverness, courage, and determination could change everything. Kyle leaned back in the control chair, exhausted but proud. The ship hummed around him, alive and aware. He had piloted it through challenges no one thought possible, earned the respect of civilizations that had doubted humans for centuries, and unlocked the potential of a vessel abandoned for millennia. "But this is only the beginning," Kale said softly. "Humanity has much more to do." The stars stretched endlessly before him, and for the first time, Kale felt the weight of the galaxy and the promise of the future resting in human hands. The HFY moment had arrived. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were respected, capable, and ready for the challenges of the universe. And Kale Rin, small, clever, and fearless, smiled as he guided the starship forward, knowing that the galaxy would never forget the day a human became a master of the impossible.